What is up, guys? It is game week, and I'm Bolt Struck with Duck, and today we're going over my Chargers award predictions as well as my preview and predictions of the Chargers versus Raiders Week 1 game. So let's get started with my Chargers award predictions. So let's get the easy one, the obvious one out of the way, MVP Herbert. Enough said there already. I think it's pretty obvious Justin Herbert is the best player on the team. I expect him to not only have a Chargers MVP caliber season, but a NFL MVP caliber season. Getting into Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going Rashawn Slater. I was thinking some of the wide receivers, just with depth, it's a little bit weird. I decided to go with Rashawn Slater. I just think coming off of last year's resurgence after his injury, he's a perennial Pro Bowl player. I think, barring no injury, he's going to be easily top 5 at the position in the entire NFL. And with Joe Alt on the other side, I think it's going to make it so he doesn't have to face the number one edge every single game. I love our running back, so I think just the fact that we're going to be a more balanced team, I think Rashawn Slater is going to be the Offensive Player of the Year. And my Defensive Player of the Year went back and forth between a few guys. I did pick Khalil Mack. I just think it seems like there's no slowing down from him. Came off a great year last year. Hopefully getting Joey Bosa back and a improved Tuli Tuipulotu. I just think Khalil Mack's going to be able to feast with some one-on-ones. I like our defensive tackles much more than last year. More importantly, I like our linebackers much more than last year. I think that gives Khalil Mack a lot more flexibility. I think he's going to thrive in this Jesse Minter scheme. And a little bit of a spoiler, but Khalil Mack always plays great against the Raiders. He seems fired up. Week 1, fresh against the Raiders. Don't be shocked if he has a huge performance. So Khalil Mack is my Defensive Player of the Year for the Chargers. Now, my most improved player. You guys might have guessed this. I've been talking about him all season. I'm saying Darius Davis. I say most improved because if you watched my last video, he only scored 1 touchdown all of last season. I just think with how great of a returner he is, I'm hoping they get him involved in the offense like they have been in the preseason. I think he could easily quadruple 5 times his career touchdowns. 1 career touchdown, I think he can easily score 4 or 5 touchdowns this season alone. I think he's a fantastic player, and I think he's going to get only get better. My Comeback Player of the Year, this is always a tricky one because some people say it should be based on injuries alone. It shouldn't be based on performance. I disagree. I think it should be just coming back from whatever adversity you faced. Remember, Phillip Rivers won it a few years back, a few years back, and he deserved it, right? He came off Phillip Rivers, Hall of Fame caliber player, had a horrible season, came back, again played at the MVP caliber level. I think that's deserving of Comeback Player of the Year. So for my Chargers Comeback Player of the Year, it's going to be Derwin James. Derwin James, this pains me to say it, had a horrible season. I think it was even worse watching the games than on paper, unfortunately. But Brandon Staley just could not use Derwin James well. And especially, again, with our better depth at defensive line, at linebackers, I think Derwin James should be able to just play and roam the field like he did in years past. I think they were, scheming him up incorrectly. Derwin James is just a ball hawk, physical player, and I think giving him the versatility based on our defensive depth to be able to move positions is just gonna let him thrive. And again, I hate saying this, but he can't possibly have as poor of a season as he had last year. So with this new defensive scheme, I love our defensive coordinator. Derwin James should be back to Pro Bowl form, like we know he can. My Rookie of the Year, this one, not a hot take. I'm going with the first rounder. I'm going Joe Alt. You would hope it's Ladd McConkey, right? Because Joe Alt's floor, barring injury, is average starter in the NFL. His floor, right? His ceiling is much higher. So you would love for Ladd McConkey to come out and blow Joe Alt out of the water, especially, the fact that we don't have a ton of offensive weapons at the wide receiver. But just the fact that we have an array of wide receivers this year, probably going to go run heavy. We have a lot of running backs, a lot of tight ends. I think the ball is just going to get distributed too much. Ladd already looks like a great run blocker, so I'm looking forward to see that. But I do think it is going to be Joe Alt. I think at worst, he's going to be league average this year. At best, he could be a Pro Bowler. So my rookie of the year for the Chargers is Joe Alt. So those are my Chargers award predictions for the year. And then real quick, we're just going to get into my Chargers versus Raiders preview and predictions. So we'll start off with the score. I'm predicting the Chargers will win 31-20. So the way I came to that score is, the Raiders are going to put up points. They don't have a quarterback, but they have some dudes, right? I predict a couple field goals from them because I do predict them being able to drive the ball decently well, especially as this new defense kind of meshes. But being so limited at quarterback, I can't see them scoring more than the 2 touchdowns, and then I gave them a couple field goals in there. I think 31's reasonable. My Herbert stats that I'm predicting is kind of a nice, above average, casual, 260 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So I came to that because it is, again, a new offense. I think they're going to want to spread the ball around. I think they're going to want to give all the running backs touches. So I think Herbert will score the 2 touchdowns, and then the other 2 will be a combination of, from our running backs, maybe a special teams or defensive touchdown, and then thrown in a field goal in there. But I do think they're going to ease Herb into the season, especially because he did have a foot injury just a few weeks ago. So I'm not predicting a ton of running from him. I'm predicting kind of more basic, especially against a not-so-great Raiders team. We should hopefully be able to cruise to a semi-easy victory, not have Herbert under too much duress, maybe even pull him out towards the end of the game, or at least, again, go more into run heavy towards the end of the game with the lead. So those are my predictions, 31-20, Chargers, Raiders. Justin Herbert, 260 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. But that wraps it up for this video. Those are my Chargers award predictions and my Raiders predictions. Let me know down in the comments, who is your Chargers MVP? What awards did you agree with, disagree with, and what are your predictions both for the Chargers and for Herbert for this Week 1 Raiders game? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe for more Chargers content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.